to another Horus Heresy battle report brought to you by the Legion Wargaming. Following the drop site massacre on Isstvan V, it is known by many that the 12th and 17th Legions, led by their mighty Primarchs Angron and Lorgar Aurelian, set course for the galactic southwest and the 500 worlds of the realm of Ultramar. This was to be the Shadow Crusade, bringing death and destruction to the realm of their brother Guilliman and cutting the 13th Legion off from the rest of the Imperium. But fewer know that as these legions left the Isstvan system, they were accompanied by a small force of warriors from the 4th Legion. Their mission, given to them by the Lord of Iron himself, was to proceed with his brothers as far as the Thyraxis system, which had long been under the governorship of Warsmith Torin Kral of the 66th Grand Battalion, and there to deliver Lord Perturabo's orders for Kral and his Iron Warriors to join their lord as the 4th Legion fleet prepared to set course for the File system. The response of Warsmith Kral was to lead to one of the least remembered yet bloodiest battles in the entire heresy. For the War Master had declared that all those loyal to the Emperor were to be exterminated, so that none should dare to stand against his claim to the throne of terror, an order his brothers, particularly the Red Angel and his World Eaters, were only too pleased to carry out. The battle today is 6,500 points. It is Loyalist Iron Warriors versus a coalition of traitor legions. The scenario is extermination with Vanguard strike deployment. Let's take a look at the armies. And here we have 6,500 points of traitors. And for this battle, rather than using the apocalypse rules, we wanted both armies to retain a bit more structure, so we have allowed both sides to use 2 force organisation charts and of course allies where appropriate. And the primary force for the traitors are the World Eaters. They have brought along a standard Battles in the Age of Darkness force organisation chart, and they are led by their Lord of War, their Primarch. It is Angron, the Red Angel. The World Eaters have 2 HQ choices. The first is a Praetor with a Paragon Blade and an Iron Halo, and they've bought a Consul upgraded to a Master of Signal as well. The Praetor, he's brought along his Legion Command Squad. They have 2 Power Fists, a Power Sword, a pair of Lightning Claws. Of course they have the Legion Standard, and they're all wearing Artificer armour as well. The World Eaters have 4 Elites choices, the first of which is an Apothecarian detachment consisting of 2 Apothecaries. They will be joining 2 of the World Eaters Legion tactical squads. We have got 5 Cataphracti Terminators. 2 of them have twin Lightning Claws. There's a Reaper autocannon, 2 Power Fists and a Chain Fist, and they are mounted in a Land Raider Phobos with Armoured Ceramite. We've also got a Contemptor Dreadnought Talon. The first Dreadnought has 2 Power Fists, both with integrated heavy flamers, and a Havoc missile rack. The second Contemptor has twin Kerry's assault cannons and a Havoc missile rack, and the third Dreadnought in the Talon has a multi-melter and a Power Fist with an integrated melter gun. The final Elite's choice is a Rapier, and the World Eaters are expecting the Iron Warriors to roll out with their heavy armour. They've brought along a Laser Destroyer. They've also brought along a lot of bodies to feed into the meat grinder. Starting with their first troops choice, which is a Legion Tactical Squad. We've got 10 Tactical Marines. They're led by a Sergeant with a Power Weapon and Artificer armour, and they are mounted in a Rhino. We've also got a Legion Tactical Support Squad. They have 4 Melter Guns. They're mounted in a Rhino. And then we have 2 Legion Tactical Squads, both of 15 Marines. They all have chain axes and bolt pistols, and they are led by Sergeants with Artificer armour and Power Fists. These 2 tactical squads will be joined by the 2 Apothecaries. And the final troops choice is a Legion Assault Squad. They also have chain axes and bolt pistols, and they are led by a Sergeant with Artificer armour and a Power Fist. The World Eaters have brought along a single fast attack choice, which is a squad of 10 Rampagers with their Kaidare gladiatorial weaponry. They have excoriator chain axes, meteor hammers, phalanx blades, and the champion has a Power Fist. They are mounted in a Land Raider Phobos with armoured ceramite. The World Eaters also have 3 heavy support choices. The first is a Deimos Predator with a Predator cannon and heavy bolter sponsons. They've got another Deimos Predator with a Plasma Executioner and sponson las cannons, and their final choice is a heavy support squad, 5 World Eaters with autocannon. And as this is post Isstvan V, the Legion rules that the World Eaters will be using are Incarnate Violence and Blood Madness, which of course gives them rage. Lord Aurelian is wise enough to know that no one can truly control his brother Angron, but he has sent some of his fanatical sons to keep an eye on his wayward brother. We have some allied word bearers. Led by a consul, upgraded to a chaplain, he's brought along a tactical squad of 10 word bearers. They are mounted in a Rhino, and he's also got 9 veterans. They have a plasma gun, their sergeant has a combi plasma, and they will be riding with the chaplain himself in his personal transport, which is a Land Raider Phobos with armoured ceramite. This is one force organisation chart consisting of the World Eaters and their word bearer allies, but of course we also have the Iron Warriors sent by Perturabo himself. But as we know, Warsmith Kral has rejected the words of the Primarch, so these Iron Warriors have decided that their brothers must die. They are an Onslaught force organisation chart, and they are led by a Praetor in Terminator armour. He has a Paragon blade and a Volkite charger, and they have a single troops choice, which is a Legion tactical squad of 10 Iron Warriors. They have additional close combat weapons, as do the Legion veteran tactical squad. They also have a melter gun of Exilla, and their sergeant has artificer armour and a power fist. They are an elite choice, and we have another elite choice, which is 5 Tartaros pattern Terminators. They have a pair of lightning claws, a Reaper auto cannon, and a couple of power axes, a power fist, a chain fist. They're armed to the teeth. The Iron Warriors have a fast attack choice in the form of some Sky Hunter jet bikes. They're led by a sergeant. He's got a power fist, and his bike is equipped with a Volkite culverin. But the Iron Warriors really have brought along a lot of heavy support, starting with a Deimos pattern Vindicator with a Demolisher cannon. They've also got a Sicaran Venator tank hunter. They've got another Sicaran. This time it's a battle tank, and their final choice is a Deimos Predator with twin link las cannon and las cannon sponsons as well. These are the traitors. Will they be able to overrun and exterminate the Loyalist Iron Warriors on this world? We shall see. Let's take a look at the Loyalists. And here we have 6,500 points of Loyalist Iron Warriors. They refuse to accept their father's part in this treachery, and they intend to exterminate their traitorous brethren and put down the mad dog Angron. Like the traitors, this force consists of 2 force organisation charts. Both of them are Onslaught, and the first is led by this army's warlord. It is Warsmith Torin Kral. He is a Legion Praetor wearing Terminator armour. He has a combi melter and a chain fist. He has got a Legion command squad. We have 5 veterans. 1 has a pair of lightning claws, 2 have power swords, and 2 have power fists. They also, of course, have a Legion banner and artificer armour. And we have 4 elite choices in this first force organisation chart, which are a Contemptor Dreadnought Talon. We have 1 Dreadnought with twin Kerry's assault cannons and a Havoc missile rack. We have 1 with a twin linked Volkite culverin and a power fist, and another Dreadnought with a multi-melter and a chain fist with an integrated melter gun. The second elite choice is a full strength squad of 10 Cataphracti Terminators. These guys look very mean. They have a couple of heavy flamers, a couple of combi melters, and a mix of power fists, chain fists, power weapons, and to make them even more formidable, they will be rolling in the Spartan assault tank, which has armoured ceramite. We've got another squad of Cataphracti Terminators, 5 this time. They all have twin lightning claws and The final elite's choice is a squad of 7 destroyers, looking forward to using their phosphex and rad weaponry. For troops choices, this onslaught detachment has a single 10-man tactical squad. Their sergeant has a lightning claw, a combi weapon and artificer armour, and they are mounted in a rhino. And we have 2 tactical support squads. One has 4 melter guns and the sergeant has a combi melter, and the other has 4 plasma guns and the sergeant has a combi plasma. We have no fast attack at all in this detachment, so we move straight on to heavy support and the formidable form of the Leviathan Siege Dreadnought Talon. We have one with a claw and a drill, and 2 heavy flamers, and one with a graviton flux bombard and the deadly Leviathan storm cannon. We also have a Land Raider squadron consisting of an Achilles Alpha with its twin linked multi-melters and its quad launcher. It will be carrying one of the tactical support squads, and then we have a armoured Proteus which has an explorator, augury web, armoured ceramite, and will be carrying the other tactical support squad. And the final 2 heavy support choices are 2 Derideo pattern dreadnoughts. One has a plasma cannonade and the Aeolus missile launcher, and the other has the Anvilus autocannon battery and an Aeolus missile launcher. And the final unit in this onslaught force is the Typhon Siege Tank, a perfect tank for an Iron Warriors Siege Assault Battalion, and of course it has been equipped with armoured ceramite. The second force organisation chart is led by a consul upgraded to a chaplain. He has brought along as troops choices 2 tactical squads, both of 10 Iron Warriors. Both of the sergeants have combi weapons and artificer armour, and both are mounted in rhinos. There are a couple of elites choices, which are a rapier with a quad launcher and a Tech Marine Covenant. And then we have the heavy support once again. We have 2 squads of Iron Havocs, one with heavy bolters equipped with shrapnel shells, hoping to make the traitors keep their heads down, and one squad of Iron Havocs with missile launchers. We've also got a Deimos Vindicator with a laser destroyer array and a Whirlwind Scorpius. And like the other detachment, this also has a Lord of War in the form of a heavy tank. This time it's a Cerberus. This is quite a tank destroyer. The Iron Warriors look like they have far less Marines than the traitors, but they also look like they have a lot of heavy armour with a terrible amount of firepower. Who will emerge triumphant? The forces of the War Master or the Emperor's loyal followers? We shall see as we move into deployment. And the armies have deployed, with the traitors already overrunning the outer defences on this flank and moving over the landing fields. Meanwhile, Angron leads the 12th Legion in an assault towards this base. Angron himself is in the centre. He is surrounded by his World Eaters. We have 2 15 strong Legion tactical squads with chain axes and bolt pistols. They have both been joined by apothecaries, and this squad has been joined by the Legion Praetor. There is another Legion tactical squad in their Rhino moving up in support. The far left of the World Eaters assault consists of their Legion Assault Squad looking to leap forward, and the Rampagers, who have already motored forwards in their Land Raider Phobos. In the centre, the World Eaters have deployed their Contemptor Dreadnought Talon. They are supported by the Legion Tactical Support Squad in their Rhino with their melter guns, and the Command Squad is moving up using the immense form of this Land Raider Phobos containing the World Eaters Cataphracti Terminators for cover. The World Eaters support units have already set up good firing positions. In this part of the landing fields we have a heavy support squad. On top of this landing pad they have been joined by the Master of Signal. They have a great field of fire from there, as does the Rapier laser destroyer from the roof of this bunker, and the 2 World Eaters Predators are moving up in support as well. Then we come to Evram Kirian's traitorous Iron Warriors. His veteran tactical squad are looking to move forward using these landing pads as cover. They have the formidable supporting fire of the Sikaar and Venator, and in the centre of this part of the line we have Evram Kirian himself. He has joined the Tartaros pattern Terminators. They're advancing behind the Vindicator with its demolisher cannon, and we have another Iron Warriors tactical squad moving forwards. They have the supporting fire of the Sikaran battle tank and the Iron Warriors Deimos pattern Predator. Meanwhile, the Skyhunter jet bikes are looking to move to where they are most needed, and over on the far right flank of the traitor line we have the Word Bearer's Chaplain and his veterans in their Land Raider crashing through these defences, and the Word Bearer's tactical squad in their Rhino looking to motor past these Aegis defence lines. The Iron Warriors look out from their defences and see a formidable assault on the way, but Warsmith Kral is not the kind of man to despair. He has prepared his defences. Over on his left flank he has the Cerberus super heavy tank and the Vindicator with its laser destroyer. They can see all of these traitor tanks advancing towards them. They are ordered to knock them out. They have the support of the Tech Marine Covenant, and from the roof of the bunker 1 Deredeo pattern Dreadnought with its Anvilus autocannons. We've also got a squad of Iron Havocs preparing to give fire with their heavy bolters from this raised defence line. They are intending to keep their brothers pinned down. We have 1 Iron Warriors tactical squad still in their Rhino. They are looking to motor forward to where they are most needed in the defence of this part of the Loyalist line, which is overseen by the Legion Command Squad in this tower building. Meanwhile, in the centre we have the Spartan assault tank containing 10 Cataphracti Terminators, Warsmith Kral himself and a chaplain. That is a truly devastating unit anchoring the Loyalist centre, and they are supported by the destroyers, 1 squad of Iron Havocs with missile launchers on top of this bunker and the Rapier quad launcher. Warsmith Kral has entrusted the defence of this base to 2 of his Legion tactical squads occupying these bunkers, and some of his dreadnoughts. We have the Deredeo with its plasma cannonade and all 3 Contemptors of his Contemptor Talon. They can also count on the supporting fire of the Whirlwind Scorpius. Over on the Loyalist left flank we have a formidable line of armour. The Land Raider Achilles and Proteus containing the tactical support squads. They are looking to move forwards or maybe into the base if their support is required, and the Warsmith is hoping that the fire of the Typhon siege tank can blow huge holes in the assault of the 12th Legion, and he has prepared his own counterattack. All the way over on his far right we have the Leviathan Dreadnought Talon and the Cataphracti Terminators with lightning claws moving through these ruined buildings. Looks like they are going to run headlong into the Rampagers. This is shaping up to be a cataclysmic battle, and we cannot wait to get started. The traitors deployed first, so unless the Loyalist Iron Warriors can seize initiative, we go into Traitors turn 1. And with the Loyalist Iron Warriors failing to seize the initiative, the traitor assault has begun. Over on their left flank the Rampagers have moved forward as quickly as possible. In their Land Raider they appear to be heading straight for a world of pain, but their deranged minds do not register that, and the rest of their World Eaters brothers are also moving forward as quickly as possible. The assault squad has leapt forward, and this Legion tactical squad begins its advance through the trees led by the Praetor. We have 1 Legion tactical squad in a Rhino moving up along with the tactical support squad. They intend to bolster their brother's assault on this flank, and of course Angron is moving forward as quickly as he can. This Legion tactical squad have swarmed forward to join their Primarch. They are supported by 1 of the Contemptors from the Talon. The other 2 are pressing into the outer line buildings of the base. Meanwhile the Terminators have moved forward 6 inches in their Land Raider, They are intending to give fire against the Loyalist left flank, and they are supported by the command squad marching forwards. This Predator has also moved round these rocks and intends to give fire onto the Iron Warriors' centre. The heavy support squad have held position. They have plenty of targets, they don't need to move yet, and nor does the Rapier laser destroyer. This Predator also has plenty of targets to choose from, so has held position. Meanwhile, at the base of this bunker, the Iron Warriors veterans moved 6 inches through cover. They are keen to get at their former brothers. The Sicaran has held position to give fire, and the other Sicaran has also held position along with the Deimos Predator. But the Iron Warriors over here are advancing as well, led by the Deimos Pattern Vindicator. We have the tactical squad moving forwards and Kyrian and his Terminators moving up in support. Meanwhile, the Skyhunter jet bikes are moving over towards the Traitor far right flank, where the word bearers obviously cannot wait to get their hands on the Loyalists. Both the veterans in their Land Raider and the tactical squad in their Rhino have come careening at full speed through these defence lines. This is the beginning of the assault. The Iron Warriors have prepared their defences. Will it be enough? Let's see what the Traitors can do in their first shooting phase. End of Traitor shooting phase, turn 1, and the Loyalists breathe a sigh of relief. That could have been much, much more effective. The word bearers over on the far right flank continue to move forward. Both the Land Raider and the Rhino move flat out through the rocks. They clearly want to settle this in assault. Meanwhile, the Iron Havocs on these raised defence lines absorbed a lot of firepower from the Skyhunter jet bikes, but 2 of their number were cut down by the Sicaran battle tank. The Deimos Predator fared very well, taking 1 hull point off the Cerberus, but the Sicaran Venator fared even better, stripping off another hull point, but better yet, scoring a penetrating hit. And that means that despite the fact it's a super heavy, the Cerberus can only fire snap shots in its next turn. The Iron Warriors infantry here continued to run forwards, and their Vindicator was left disappointed, as despite landing its demolisher cannon on both the Cerberus and the opposing Vindicator, it failed to penetrate either of the Loyalist tanks' armour. The Rapier was very disappointing, as well as, despite being twin linked, it managed to miss the Derrideo Dreadnought, but this Dreadnought did suffer a single glancing hit when it was targeted by the World Eater's Land Raider in the centre. The World Eater's heavy support Marines managed to cut down 2 Iron Havocs with their missile launchers on this bunker in the centre, and another was felled by the Predator cannon, firing in support as well. The other Predator managed to take out a single member of the Iron Warriors Legion command squad with a blast from its plasma executioner, but it was quite wayward in its fire, and in the end, despite firing 3 blasts, only managed to actually hit 1 of the Loyalist Iron Warriors. Meanwhile, the World Eaters have not given shooting a moment's thought. They have all run forwards. Angron is entering the base with this Legion tactical squad. These 2 Dreadnoughts also ran up in support, so did this Dreadnought and all the rest of the World Eaters over here, and also the 2 Rhinos moved flat out towards this flank. Meanwhile, the Rampager's Land Raider, using its power of the machine spirit, managed to hit and penetrate the nearest Leviathan Siege Dreadnought, but the laser was absorbed by the Dreadnought's adamantic shielding. It is unharmed. So only a few Loyalists were cut down, and with no assaults, that brings Traitor turn 1 to a close. As this is Extermination, it is kill points with variable points depending on what type of unit is destroyed, but at the end of their first turn, the Traitors have not scored any points. They're not too concerned. They want to settle this in assault anyway. Let's see how the Loyalists respond going into Loyalist Iron Warriors turn 1. End of Loyalist movement phase turn 1, and the Iron Warriors are being very, very cagey in their defence. Over on their left flank, there has been very little movement. The Tech Marines are preparing their servo arms to repair the Cerberus. Meanwhile, to get back into coherency, the Iron Havocs have had to move slightly, well, at least one of them. Meanwhile, The Deredeo has spun round. He is preparing to open fire on the Sicaran Venator. They do not want this tank to shut down their Cerberus tank destroyer. The Deredeo will be joined in its fire by the Deimos Vindicator's laser destroyer. The Loyalists are hoping that that is enough firepower to take out the Sicaran Venator. Meanwhile, the Legion command squad, they have moved down into these rocky gullies. They know that their traitorous brothers are advancing upon them, and in the centre the Iron Warriors are being very cagey indeed. Warsmith Kral has not deployed from his Spartan. He intends to give fire on the approaching World Eater's Land Raider, and meanwhile the Contemptor Talon has stomped backwards away from the advance of Angron and his World Eaters. It looks like the Warsmith has a plan over on this flank. It looks like he is baiting the World Eaters into one of their famous frontal assaults, while his right flank swings round to deal with them. The two Land Raiders in this squadron, the Achilles and the Proteus, they have moved forward slightly so that the Achilles can get its multi-melters into range of the Rampagers in their Land Raider. Meanwhile, the Typhon has held position. It is going to give fire with its Dread Hammer Cannon just to take out as many World Eaters as it can. It will be joined in its fire by some Fury of the Legion from the two tactical squads defending the base, and they can count on the supporting fire of the Deredeo Dreadnought with its deadly weaponry as well, along with the Whirlwind Scorpius. Looks like the World Eaters here are charging into a wall of firepower, and on the far right flank of the Loyalists, here comes the counter-attack. The two Leviathans have moved forwards. This one in particular looks like he is preparing a charge, and the Cataphracti Terminators have also moved round. It looks like the Warsmith is being very cunning and drawing the World Eaters in. Let's see. The Loyalists are expecting a much more effective first shooting phase than the traitors had. Will they be able to do it? Loyalist shooting phase, turn 1. End of Loyalist shooting phase, turn 1, and as we suspected, it has been much more effective than the traitors, starting with the Deredeo turning its Anvilus autocannons on the Sicaran Venator. With a devastating hail of fire, it managed to inflict 3 glances and 1 penetrating hit. It was enough, and the Iron Warrior's vehicle was destroyed. That's 2 points for every support choice, and of course it's also another point for First Blood. The Deredeo then turned its Aeolus missile launcher on the advancing Iron Warriors, taking out one of them, and another from this squad was felled by fire from the Iron Havoc's heavy bolters. The Cerberus was disappointed. Firing snapshots with its las cannon did not manage to hit the Word Bearer's Land Raider, bearing down on it, but good news, as each Tech Marine managed to repair a hull point, the Cerberus is now fully repaired. With its firepower not needed against the Sicaran Venator, the Vindicator turned its laser array on the Vindicator with a Demolisher cannon advancing towards it, but only managed to inflict 1 glancing hit. Still, that is a very pleasing result for the Loyalists over on this flank. The Sicaran Venator was a deadly threat to them, and it has been destroyed. In the centre, the Land Raider Spartan managed to inflict 2 glancing hits on the World Eater's Land Raider Phobos advancing towards it with its quad las cannons, and the 2 remaining Iron Havocs also managed to strip off another hull point with a glancing hit. It only has 1 left, and then the Iron Warriors in the centre opened fire upon Angron and his Legion tactical squad. The quad launcher did extremely well, blowing 4 World Eaters to pieces. The Whirlwind Scorpius not quite as well, only taking out 1, and then the Contemptors opened fire. The Contemptor with the twin-linked Volkite Culverin managed to take out another 2 World Eaters, but although it hit with its multi-melter, the Central Dreadnought here failed to wound. Still, that left Angron standing at the front, and he was hit by a hail of fire from the twin Kerry's assault cannons of the 3rd Contemptor, but he was only wounded once. Meanwhile, the fury of the Legion, unleashed by the 2 Iron Warriors tactical squads in these bunkers, was very disappointing, only cutting down 4 of the World Eaters assault marines, but the squad is no more as the Deredeo over on this side of the Iron Warriors line open fire, cutting down the remaining 6 and earning the Loyalist Iron Warriors another point. The Rampager's Land Raider has proved extremely resilient. It has taken 2 glancing hits, one from the Achilles Alpha and one from the Proteus, but the las cannons on the Typhon did no further damage. The Typhon's Dreadhammer cannon fired but was quite inaccurate. It only managed to take out 3 World Eaters from this central tactical squad, although it did penetrate and stun both of the Rhinos moving up in support. Still, the Loyalist Iron Warriors have been far, far more effective in their firepower than the Traitors, and their turn is not over yet, as it looks like this Leviathan is going to finish the job started by the heavy armour as it tries to assault the Rampager's Land Raider in Loyalist Assault Phase, turn 1. End of Loyalist Assault Phase, turn 1, and the Leviathan came lumbering out of the ruins and smashed into the front of the Land Raider, managing to inflict a glance with its Hammer of Wrath, which is just as well as, despite getting 3 hits with its Siege Drill, it only managed to inflict 1 more glance. Still, that was enough to wreck the Rampager's Land Raider, and the Rampagers have come piling out. But bad news for the Iron Warriors, they are not pinned, and they are getting very close to the Iron Warriors line. That brings the Loyalists' turn to a close. There is another point for the Land Raider to go with First Blood, and 2 points for the Sakaran Venator, and another point for the Assault Squad, meaning that the score at the end of Loyalists' turn 1 is 5 points to the Loyalists, nothing yet to the Traitors. But worryingly, the Traitors are getting much, much closer to the Loyalist defensive lines going into Traitors' turn 2. End of Traitors movement phase turn 2, and the Word Bearers have deployed from their Rhino. We have 1 tactical squad storming this raised defensive lines. They intend to exterminate the remaining Iron Havocs. The Chaplain and his veterans, they have not deployed from their Land Raider. They are still motoring forwards to give fire, and they have been joined on their left by the Iron Warriors Vindicator, which intends to lob another Demolisher cannon shell into this tightly packed mass of Loyalists. But Evram Kirian has realised that the wily Warsmith is pinning down a lot of the traitor forces over on this flank with very few of his own, so he is ordering his infantry to move towards the centre of the battlefield. The tactical squad has moved, so has he, and his Terminators and the jet bikes are also moving round back to their starting positions. They intend to turbo boost back into the thick of the fighting in the centre. His veterans have advanced onto the landing pad, and he is even considering ordering his line of supporting armour to move, but he feels that at this stage in the battle they could be better served by putting some heavy firepower down on the Loyalist tanks here, and particularly the Deredeo Dreadnought, which is so deadly. In fact, the World Eaters Rapier with their laser destroyer have turned to try and knock him out, and it's perfectly possible that the heavy support squad here and the Predator will also be firing against the Dreadnought. So keen are the Traitors to knock him out. Meanwhile, in the centre, the World Eaters Terminators have deployed from their Land Raider. They are storming over this landing pad. They have their eyes on the Iron Warriors Legion Command Squad. Their Land Raider looks like he is going to give fire against the Spartan as one of the World Eaters Contemptors charges forward with his power fists buzzing. The second Dreadnought from the Talon is moving forward to give fire with his Kerry's assault cannons. We are expecting him to shred the Iron Warriors Rapier quad launcher. Meanwhile, Angron may have been drawn in, but that's just the way he likes it, and so do his World Eaters. All of the World Eaters units here have managed to move 6 inches through cover, so Angron is leading the charge of this Legion tactical squad. He may well get a charge off on the lead Iron Warriors Contemptor. The Legion Command Squad are moving up in support along with another Predator, but the other supporting units, these 2 Rhinos, they are both stunned. They are going nowhere. This Legion Tactical Squad is moving up. That is a long charge. They may just run, but the Rampagers, the last unit over on the Traitor left flank, have a very easy charge. It doesn't look like this tactical squad of Iron Warriors are going to survive this turn. Still, the World Eater's frontal assault has been badly punished. It looks like Kyrian at least has realised that the Warsmith has laid a trap for them. Is it too late? We shall see. Let's see if the Traitors can have a more successful shooting phase. Traitors shooting phase turn 2. End of Traitors shooting phase turn 2, and they have put in a much better performance than in their previous turn. The newly deployed Word Bearers cut down the 3 remaining Iron Havocs behind these defence lines with a hail of bolter fire, but their commander fared a lot worse as both of the las cannon shots from his Land Raider bounced harmlessly from the frontal armour of the Cerberus. 2 more las cannon hits came in on the Super Heavy from the Sicaran, but they too could not penetrate the Super Heavy tank's formidable frontal armour. However, the Iron Warrior's Deimos Predator fared a lot better, getting 2 penetrating hits on the Deredeo and taking it out. That is a relief to the Traitors on this flank, but their Vindicator was unlucky once again as he managed to hit the Cerberus and the opposing Vindicator with a Demolisher cannon and once again failed to penetrate, as did the World Eater's Rapier Laser Destroyer, which joined in targeting the Vindicator. This Vindicator seems to have very impressive armour. Meanwhile, the Iron Warriors here continue to run towards the landing pads, or in the case of the veterans, down into the rocky gullies. The jet bikes have moved flat out past this World Eater's Predator that fired with no effect on the Iron Havocs, but it was with great satisfaction that the World Eater's Heavy Support Marines managed to cut down both remaining Iron Warriors Heavy Weapons Marines with a volley of autocannon fire. In the centre, the Terminator's fire had no effect at all against the Artificer armour of the Iron Warriors Command Squad, but their Land Raider fared better, managing to do a single glancing hit on the Spartan with its las cannons as the World Eater's Contemptor prepares to charge. Meanwhile, the other World Eater's Predator fired with no effect against the Iron Warrior's Contemptors, but it looks like Angron is closing in. This Contemptor with its twin carries absolutely shredded the Iron Warrior's Rapier. That's another unit wiped out. There's a lot of points this turn being wrapped up by the Traitors. In the centre, over this side in the base, this Legion Tactical Squad decided that the charge was too long, so they have run forward, but the Rampagers are very confident in making their charge, so they are gunning their chain axes and swinging their meteor hammers. This has been a good phase for the Traitors. They have destroyed 2 Iron Havoc squads and a Deredeo Dreadnought. Those are all heavy support choices. They're all worth 2 points each, and they've also destroyed the Rapier. That's an elite choice. It's worth 2 points. The Traitors have taken the lead during this phase. They have racked up an impressive 8 points, and that was only the appetizer. Here comes the main event. It is Traitors Assault Phase Turn 2. End of Traitors Assault Phase Turn 2, and the Rampagers made their charge. The Iron Warrior Sergeant issued a challenge only to be beaten senseless by a Rampager wielding a Meteor Hammer before the Iron Warrior could even lift his Power Claw. The remaining Iron Warriors Tactical Marines managed to drag down a single Rampager, then were butchered by a flurry of 2-handed chain axes. The Rampagers have consolidated 1 inch, and that's another point for the Traitors. Meanwhile, their Primarch also made his charge into the leading Iron Warrior's Contemptor. Once again, the Iron Warrior stood no chance at all as Angron inflicted 5 penetrating hits on the Dreadnought before he could make any attacks, and the Dreadnought exploded, fortunately not taking out any more World Eaters. That is another 2 points for an elite's choice. But the World Eater's Contemptor was disappointed as he only managed to inflict a single penetrating hit as he successfully charged the Spartan assault tank, and that was shaken. That is disappointing, and the World Eater's Cataphracti are also disappointed as they failed to charge down off the landing pad into the Iron Warriors Legion Command Squad. But that is still a very, very good turn for the Traitors, combined with the units they destroyed in the shooting phase, they have managed to rack up a truly impressive 11 points during their second turn, meaning that the score is 11 points to the traitors and 5 to the loyalists. Can the loyalists bring it back? Let's see. Loyalists, turn 2. End of Loyalist movement phase, turn 2, and it looks like the Iron Warriors counter-strike has arrived. Their attack on the left flank is now spearheaded by their Land Raider Achilles, with the Proteus following up. They have motored forward a full 12 inches. They are driving round to encircle the World Eaters. They still have the support of the Cataphractii with Lightning Claws, who have moved up, and the Leviathan Siege Dreadnought with its Storm Cannon and its Graviton Flux Bombard. Meanwhile, the other Leviathan has stomped between the advancing Land Raiders. It has its eyes on the Rampagers, as does the Deredeo Pattern Dreadnought as well. It looks like the Rampagers have really bitten off more than they can chew over on this flank. Meanwhile, the Typhon has spun around. It intends to give fire against the central World Eaters tactical squad, and these Iron Warriors have decided to not sit meekly in their bunker and wait for the World Eaters to charge at them. They are going to drive the World Eaters back with a charge of their own, but it is in the centre that the Iron Warriors want to inflict a crippling blow on the traitors. The Spartan has reversed away from the World Eaters Contemptor, and as its assault ramp clangs down, Warsmith Kral and the Iron Warriors Chaplain and 10 Cataphractii Terminators have come spilling out. They only have one target in mind. They want to take out the Primarch of the 12th Legion. There is a Contemptor that is preparing to stomp in to help them achieve that. Meanwhile, the other Contemptor with the Kerry's assault cannons is going to add its firepower against this central World Eater squad to help out the Iron Warriors tactical squad. And there is a counter assault over by the landing pads, as well as the Iron Warriors Legion Command Squad has scaled the rock face and prepares to charge the Cataphractii, who failed to charge them. They will be supported by the destroyers, who have run forward. They are getting ready to trigger their jump packs. Meanwhile, over on the Loyalist Iron Warriors left flank, they are happy with their position. They are tying up a lot of traitors over this side of the battlefield. The Cerberus is still there. It can fire at full effect this turn. The Tech Marines are still there. The Vindicator, which seems inviolate, is still there as well. And we still have an Iron Warriors tactical squad who are happy to hold position. They have not deployed from their Rhino yet. This could be a crippling counter-strike, particularly in the centre and over on this flank. Let's see what the Loyalists can do. Loyalists shooting phase, turn 2. End of Loyalist shooting phase, turn 2, and this time it is the traitors' turn to breathe a sigh of relief, as the Loyalist shooting could have been much, much worse. The advancing Land Raider Achilles and Proteus managed to take the last 2 hull points from this Rhino, wrecking it as the World Eaters Tactical Marines come spilling out. That's a point, but the rest of the firing over this side of the battlefield was extremely disappointing. This Leviathan Dreadnought managed to take out a single Rampager with its twin-linked heavy flamers, and 3 more of the Berserk World Eaters were taken out by fire from the Deredeo, but the Iron Warriors had hoped to take out a lot more of the Rampagers. Even worse news, the Typhon siege tank managed somehow to land its shell exactly in this clump of trees between all of the World Eaters. It has caused no damage at all this turn. That is very disappointing, especially for the Iron Warriors tactical squad that are preparing to charge. The Scorpius opened fire, only managing 2 missiles, and once again they scattered wildly, inflicting no damage, but 2 of the World Eaters from this squad were cut down by the Kerry's assault cannons from the Contemptor. But Angron still has some of his loyal sons with him. They have had 4 of their brothers cut down, 1 by Torin Kral himself and his combi melter, 1 by a heavy flamer from his Cataphractii, 1 by the massed combi bolters of his Cataphractii, and 1 by the Volkite Culverin of the Contemptor. But they had hoped to charge Angron on his own. they're still going to press home. We shall see what happens. The Spartan also tried to add its fire, but it was firing snapshots and had no effect. The Destroyer Sergeant did very well, managing to take out 2 of the World Eaters, Cataphracti with a Foxfex bomb as his squad and the Legion Command Squad prepare to charge. Meanwhile, over on the far left, the Cerberus managed to get 2 penetrating hits on the Word Bearers. Land Raider right in front of it, but somehow they were both shaken. So that is a reprieve, although the Iron Warriors are happy to have stripped off 2 hull points from this vehicle. The las cannons added their fire, but had no effect. Meanwhile, the Vindicator spied the traitorous Praetor leading his Terminators forward and decided to open fire on him with its laser destroyer. It managed to get a single wounding hit, but one of the Tartarus Terminators pushed their commander out of the way, and to rub salt into the wound made his invulnerable save as well. So the Vindicator did not manage to achieve anything this turn, and that brings the shooting phase to a close. The only point that the Loyalist Iron Warriors have scored is for a Rhino, so that is very disappointing, but they are still poised in an excellent position to inflict a devastating blow on the traitors as we go into Loyalist Assault Phase Turn 2. End of Loyalist Assault Phase Turn 2, and their mighty counter-strike lies in tatters thanks to the Primarch of the 12th Legion, the Lord of the Red Sands. As the Cataphracti Terminators came charging in, Angron bellowed a challenge. He issued a challenge to both Torin Kral and the Chaplain. They bravely stepped forward, thinking to absorb as many of the Red Angel's attacks as possible. To make sure that their Terminators could finish him off, they both were cut down in short order by Angron, and his spillover wounds took out another 3 Terminators anyway. Then the Contemptor Dreadnought crushed the life out of 3 World Eaters, Tactical Marines and the Apothecary. That left only the Sergeant alive with his sire. His attacks did nothing, and then the Cataphracti waded in. With their Power Fists and their Chain Fists, they managed to inflict 9 wounds, killing the Sergeant and leaving Angron to save 8 wounds. The Armour of Mars saved 4 of them, and then his 6+ Feel No Pain saved another 2. He was wounded twice, and that is a very steep price that the Iron Warriors have paid, because Angron has got a point for Slay the Warlord for taking out Torin Kral. He gets another 3 points because Kral is a HQ, and another 3 points because the Chaplain is also a HQ. That was devastating from the Red Angel. They remain locked, but it looks like Angron has a lot of support heading his way. Some Contemptors and the Legion Command Squad. At least the Iron Warriors get a point for taking out the Tactical Squad and another 2 points for taking out the Apothecary. Meanwhile, the assault here was very disappointing for the Iron Warriors as well. They charged in, they did not manage to take out a single World Eater, and with the Praetor as part of this Legion Tactical Squad, the World Eaters cut down 4 Iron Warriors in return. Although the Iron Warriors have grimly resolved not to retreat, they have passed their morale check, they remain locked. And the charging Leviathan made it in to the Rampagers, but only managed to crush 1 of the Berserk World Eaters in return. The World Eaters could do no damage to him, they also remain locked. And in the final assault of the phase, both the Iron Warriors Legion Command Squad and the Destroyers made it into the Cataphracti, but they only managed, between all of their attacks, including a couple of Power Fists, to take out 1 of the World Eaters Terminators. In return, the Terminators took out 1 member of the Iron Warriors Command Squad. That combat is drawn, and they remain locked as well. So the counter assaults all across the Loyalist lines have been held by the traitors, and the extra points the traitors have managed to get this turn, thanks to Angron, have really swung this battle in their favour. They've got 7 points this turn, giving the traitors 18, and unfortunately for the Loyalists, they only managed to get 4. So the score at the end of game turn 2 is 18 points to the traitors, only 9 to the Loyalists. And as we go into Traitor, turn 3. We wonder, can anyone lay the Red Angel low? We shall see. Traitors, turn 3. End of Traitor movement phase, turn 3, and they are now pressing home their assault all across their battle line. The word bearers on this defended ridgeline are advancing over the bodies of the Iron Havocs. Meanwhile, at the foot of the ridge, the chaplain has led his veterans from the assault ramp of their stunned Land Raider. They are moving into this area of buildings to try and drive this Loyalist armour out. They are supported by a squad of Iron Warriors that are moving. They have had no luck taking out this Vindicator. In the shooting phase, they are going to see if they can take it out in an assault, and Kyrian is advancing with his Terminators still, and he has called all of his armour to begin to advance. He feels they are wasting their firepower against the Cerberus without doing any damage. Meanwhile, the World Eaters heavy support units, they have still held position. They are still going to be giving fire. The Iron Warriors jet bikes have moved around this landing pad. They are closing in on the pivotal centre of the battlefield. Meanwhile, the Iron Warriors veterans, they have moved to the foot of this landing pad. They are going to charge in to help the World Eaters against their former brothers. The World Eaters Land Raider has moved forward to clear some room for the veterans and to give fire again against the Spartan, and in the outskirts of the base, all of the World Eaters Contemptors and the Legion Command Squad are desperately trying to cover the distance so that they can intervene and save their Primarch from all of these Iron Warriors that have him surrounded. We're expecting a couple of these World Eaters units to make their charges. Will that be enough to save Angron? We shall see. Meanwhile, this tactical squad with the Praetor remain locked, and so do the Rampagers. This tactical squad don't know what they can do against the wall of armour and dreadnoughts which are approaching, so they have decided to head for the base, as have the tactical support squad. Still in their Rhino, they have moved a full 12 inches. But if the traitors can triumph in a lot of these assaults, surely that will be enough. We shall see, but first we have Traitor shooting phase, turn 3. End of Traitor shooting phase, turn 3, and it was an incredibly uneventful phase for the traitors. The word bearers ran forward across the ridge. Meanwhile, the Land Raider firing snapshots failed to do any damage to the Cerberus, and the Deimos Predator and the Sicaran also firing snapshots were similarly unsuccessful. Meanwhile, yet again, the Traitor Vindicator has had no luck with its Demolisher cannon scattering off and only hitting the wreck of the Derideo on the roof of the bunker. And once again, the Laser Destroyer has seen its shot deflected harmlessly from the front armour of the invincible Vindicator, and the World Eater's Predator fired at the same target with no effect as well. In fact, none of the World Eater's support line had any effect, as despite getting 8 hits on this Contemptor with its Kerry's assault cannons, not a single autocannon round from this World Eater squad could penetrate its armour, and the las cannon shot from this Predator that also hit the same Contemptor also deflected harmlessly from its armour. This World Eater's tactical squad have run forwards, and the tactical support squad have moved flat out in their Rhino. Meanwhile, everyone else prepares to charge to the aid of their Primarch. In fact, throughout that entire shooting phase, the only damage done, we think, was another glancing hit on the Spartan by the World Eater's Land Raider in the centre. Very disappointing phase for the traitors, but they are looking forward to the next phase with some relish. Traitors assault phase, turn 3. End of Traitors assault phase, turn 3, and it looks like this battle has swung inexorably in the favour of the forces of the War Master. Although over on this flank, the Leviathan continues to crush Rampagers and take no damage in return. He has killed another 2, and they remain locked. But other than that, a lot of these assaults have gone the way of the World Eaters. The Praetor and his Legion tactical squad butchered the remaining Iron Warriors tactical squad earning a point, and they have consolidated towards the Derrideo Dreadnought. And in the centre, the Red Angel is still standing thanks to the intervention of 3 Contemptor Dreadnoughts. The Legion Command Squad failed their charge, but between the attacks of Angron himself, who managed to take out both the Contemptor and 1 Cataphractii Terminator, and the attacks of his own Contemptors, all of the Cataphractii Iron Warriors were killed before they could bring their Power Fists and their Chain Fist to bear. And Angron is heading off towards his next target, not realising how near to doom he came in this battle. And it's more bad news for the Loyalists, as the traitorous Iron Warriors veterans made their charge up in support of the World Eaters Cataphractii. Between their attacks and the World Eaters Terminators, they managed to wipe out the Loyalist Destroyers and the Loyalist Iron Warriors Command Squad. That's another 2 points for the Destroyers, as they are elites, and another 3 points for the Legion Command Squad. That is painful. One bright spot for the Loyalists is over on their left flank, where the Word Bearers failed their charge into the Vindicator. And even though the traitorous Iron Warriors Tactical Squad made their charge, they only managed to inflict 2 glancing hits. So once again, the Vindicator remains working, and it is going to be picking out targets with its laser destroyer once again. But that brings Traitors turn 3 to a close. They have managed to rack up another 10 points. That is a lot, and the score at the end of Traitors turn 3 is 28 points to the Traitors, only 9 to the Loyalists. Do the Loyalists have enough forces left to claim victory? We shall see as we go into Loyalists turn 3. End of Loyalist movement phase, turn 3, and it is desperate stuff down this end of the battlefield from the Loyalists. The Vindicator has pulled back, but the Tech Marine Covenant are unwilling to abandon the Cerberus Super Heavy Tank Destroyer, so they are charging forward to combat their former brothers. Meanwhile, the Cerberus is determined to blow this Word Bearer's Land Raider to pieces, earning some much needed points. Meanwhile, the last Loyalist Iron Warriors Tactical Squad have disembarked from their Rhino. They have occupied this building. They are preparing to unleash a blizzard of bolter fire into their former brothers and the World Eaters Cataphractii Terminators. But the Iron Warriors have not given up with their plan of taking out the Lord of the 12th Legion. This Contemptor, with its twin Kerry's assault cannons, is going to be targeting Angron as he charges at him, and the Spartan, with its quad lasers, is going to be targeting Angron as well. The Loyalists do have another chance to take Angron out, but he did regenerate a wound at the end of last turn thanks to It Will Not Die, so their task is made even harder. But there is more hope down this end of the battlefield, as the Iron Warriors' flank attack is finally going to hit home with some force. The 2 Land Raiders, the Achilles and the Proteus, have moved up. They have disgorged their tactical support squads with melter guns and with plasma guns. This Leviathan is also moving up, finally bringing its weaponry into range. And these Cataphractii, they're moving forward as well. It looks like the Iron Warriors made a mistake with the deployment of this Leviathan, and these Terminators, they are a long way from where they need to be, but it could come in handy to drive the World Eaters back from this sector of the battlefield. There's a lot of firepower from the Land Raiders and the tactical support squads, but there is also, of course, the Derrideo Dreadnought and the Typhon Siege Tank. The Iron Warriors here want to blow all of these World Eaters to pieces, along with taking out their hated Primarch. So the Loyalists can get quite a few points this turn if things go their way. Let's see if they do. Loyalists shooting phase, turn 3. End of Loyalist shooting phase, turn 3, and the Iron Warriors counterattack has indeed been very effective. Fire coming in from the 2 Land Raiders and the tactical support squads that have disembarked from them, along with the Typhon and the Leviathan and the Derrideo, has cut down a lot of World Eaters. The tactical squad with bolters advancing towards these barricades is gone. They were all cut down, and this Legion tactical squad is reduced to one Marine, the Apothecary and the Praetor, who is wounded. That was a blizzard of fire, although the Iron Warriors are disappointed not to have wiped out these last three World Eaters. They are even more disappointed that Angron is still standing. Not only is he still standing, he did not take a single wound, despite being wounded 6 times by the Kerry's assault cannons on this Contemptor and another 2 times by the quad lasers on the Spartan. He made every single save. He is obviously protected by the Dark Gods. That is a cruel blow to the Iron Warriors, as that was worth a lot of victory points, and of course it leaves Angron free to continue his rampage through the centre of their lines. They had more disappointment as the newly deployed tactical squad in this building unleashed a hail of bolter fire against the World Eaters Terminators. They got plenty of wounds, but not a single World Eater fell here either. There was no effect. The Vindicator decided to have another go at targeting the traitorous Praetor, but he missed. Unsurprisingly, the bolt pistol fire from the 2 Tech Marines did nothing to their former brothers, but good news, right over the far end of the line as the Cerberus managed to blow the Word Bearer's Land Raider to pieces. That is worth another couple of victory points, but overall a very, very disappointing phase for the Loyalists. They were hoping to take out all of these World Eaters, and more importantly, they were hoping to take down Angron. It has not happened. We have an ongoing assault and perhaps another couple of assaults to go in as we go into Loyalist Assault Phase Turn 3. End of Loyalist Assault Phase Turn 3, and the Leviathan Siege Dreadnought with a mighty roar has crushed the last 2 rampagers and consolidated 6 inches into the base. But that achievement is somewhat cast into shade by the performance of the Tech Marine Covenant. Down this end of the battlefield, clearly incensed at the prospect of losing their beloved Cerberus, they charged into their traitorous brethren. They took no damage from Overwatch or from the traitors' attacks, and then they set about causing some damage with their power axes and their servo arms. They cut down 6 traitors, and they cut down the rest as they turned to flee as well. That is a great performance from these 2 loyal Marines. And that brings Loyalist Turn 3 to a close. They have managed to score 5 victory points, bringing their total to 14. They are still a long way behind the traitors, who have 28. It was a big disappointment not scoring a lot for taking out Angron, but they really have seized control down this end of the battlefield. Can they claw it back? We shall see. First, they shall have to endure another traitor turn as we go into Traitors Turn 4. End of Traitors Movement Phase Turn 4, and the traitors are looking to finally eradicate the Loyalist left flank here, as the chaplain of the Word Bearers leads his remaining veterans to deal with the Tech Marine Covenant. The Iron Warriors' heavy armour is all going to throw its firepower into the Cerberus. Meanwhile, the other Word Bearers, they have advanced up to the barricades on the rocky ridge. They have brought their bolters into range of this Loyalist Iron Warriors tactical squad in the towered building. As the traitor veterans got a double 1 for their move through cover roll, they are going to be forced to trade bolter fire with the Loyalists rather than move into assault. But with a 6 for their move through cover, the World Eaters Terminators are determined to finally finish off the Loyalist Vindicator, where all of the forces over on this flank have failed. The World Eaters still have their long-range firepower units, who may well add their fire against the Loyalists in this building as well. The traitors' goal this turn is to eradicate all of the Loyalists in this half of the battlefield, as they are trying to form a new defensive line, as they are finally aware of the Loyalists Iron Warriors counter-attack coming from this end of the battlefield. So the traitor jet bikes, they are moving to add their firepower. They are joined by one of the World Eaters Predators, and the World Eaters Command Squad are moving through the base in this direction now. They are supported by the Terminator's Land Raider. It is ignoring the Spartan because the Spartan only has 2 hull points remaining, and this Contemptor has been ordered to finish it off. Meanwhile, this Contemptor is going to fire its melter weaponry at its Iron Warrior's counterpart with the Kerry's assault cannons, and then hopefully finish it off with an assault, while Angron has spied the Whirlwind Scorpius and has decided he is going to tear that to pieces. The Legion Tactical Support Squad are still in their Rhino. They were going to disembark to give fire with their melter guns, but a poor move through cover roll meant they would not have been within melter range. So they have stayed embarked, and the Praetor and his couple of remaining World Eaters here, they have decided that they can take on this Tactical Support Squad in an assault if they can make it through a lot of Overwatch firing plasma guns. But if the traitors can form a new line here and deal with all of the Loyalist units, surely that will be enough to seal their victory. We shall see. Traitors shooting phase, turn 4. End of Traitors shooting phase, turn 4, and it is with much rejoicing that the Iron Warriors armour combined with the fire of the World Eaters Rapier Laser Destroyer have finally done it. They have destroyed the Cerberus. They took all of its hull points in an extremely effective volley of fire. That is a crippling blow to the Loyalists. That is a lot of victory points, 5 in fact. Meanwhile, the Word Bearers, they opened fire at long range with their bolt guns, cutting down a couple of this tactical squad. Another was felled by the Veteran Tactical Squad, opening fire from atop the landing pad, and 3 more were shot down by the World Eaters Heavy Support Squad and their Predator with its Predator cannon and heavy bolters. There are very few Iron Warriors left here now, and the Invincible Vindicator has finally been destroyed as well through a volley of fire from the World Eaters Terminator with his Reaper autocannon. That's another couple of points. The Tech Marines find themselves alone, and they are surrounded by fanatically chanting Word Bearers as well. Meanwhile, over in the base, this Contemptor has managed to destroy one of the Kerry's assault cannons with a blast from its multi-melter as it prepares to assault this Iron Warriors Contemptor Dreadnought. This Contemptor opened fire with its Kerry's assault cannons and managed to inflict a single glancing hit on the approaching Leviathan. It is trying to help out its brethren, who appear to be charging headlong into a huge force of Iron Warriors approaching from this direction. But there has been some more effective support fire coming in from the Iron Warrior Skyhunter jet bikes and the World Eaters Predator. Their combined fire wiped out the Iron Warriors Tactical Support Squad with melter guns. That is yet another point. Things are looking grim for the Loyalists, and it looks like it's going to get worse as we have quite a few assaults to go in Traitors Assault Phase, turn 4. End of Traitor Assault Phase, turn 4, and it has been another dominant phase for the Traitors. The Word Bearers Chaplain led his veterans in a charge against both of the Loyalist Iron Warriors Tech Marines. It was a disordered charge since the Tech Marines were different units, but the Word Bearers still cut them all down. That is another load of victory points for the Traitors, and they have scored yet more as this Contemptor made it into the Spartan, finally wrecking it, and of course Angron took great pleasure in tearing the Whirlwind Scorpius to pieces. That is another 2 points for each of those vehicles. That's 4, but this Contemptor failed to damage the Iron Warriors Contemptor, but took no damage in return. And the Praetor led his 2 remaining World Eaters in a charge against the Iron Warriors Special Weapons Squad with plasma guns. The World Eaters took no damage and massacred the Iron Warriors. That is yet another point, but they have to consolidate towards the nearest unit they can hurt, which in this case appears to be this Rhino. So they are pressing on into the heart of the Loyalist Iron Warriors counterattack. That brings Traitor turn 4 to a close. They have managed to score 17 victory points. They really do have the Loyalists on the ropes now. The score is 14 points to the Loyalists, 45 to the Traitors. But as we go into Loyalist turn 4, they still have one objective in mind. They want to take out the Lord of the 12th Legion, who by the way has regenerated yet another wound thanks to It Will Not Die. They have a difficult task ahead. They are probably not going to catch up in terms of victory points, but if they can cut down Angron, then their sacrifice will be worthwhile. Let's see what happens. Loyalists, turn 4. End of Loyalist movement phase turn 4, and with the total Loyalist forces down this end of the battlefield consisting of 4 Iron Warriors, Tactical Marines and their Rhino, there really isn't much that the Loyalists can do, but the Tactical Marines have advanced to the edge of the parapet to pour their bolt of fire into the 2 remaining World Eaters Cataphracti to see if they can claw back some points. Meanwhile, down the far end of the battlefield, there are still quite a few Loyalist Iron Warriors, but they are having to pick their targets very carefully. They would like to concentrate all of their firepower on Angron, but he is protected by a lot of the buildings in this base blocking line of sight, so he will only be targeted by the Derrideo Dreadnought, and the Typhon has also swung around. Will that be enough to finally take out the Red Angel? We shall see. Meanwhile, the rest of the Iron Warriors have decided to take out as many World Eaters as they can. This Leviathan intends to take out the Praetor and the 2 remaining members of his squad. If not all of them go down, the Cataphracti with Lightning Claws are moving into assault. These 2 Land Raiders are intending to destroy this World Eater's Rhino, forcing the Tactical Support Squad out, who will then hopefully be easy prey for the advancing Leviathan as it comes crashing through these buildings. But there really aren't too many Loyalist units left. Let's see how many points they can get, and of course if they can take out Angron in Loyalist shooting phase turn 4. End of Loyalist shooting phase turn 4, and with so few units left, the Iron Warriors have still acquitted themselves honourably. These Tactical Marines managed to gun down a single Cataphracti. They were disappointed not to take the final member of the squad, but then their Rhino opened up with its combi bolter and managed to cut down the last Terminator. That is a great result. That's 2 points because the Terminators are an elite's choice. Moving down to the far end of the battlefield, the 2 Land Raiders open fire, easily blowing this Rhino to pieces. That's another point, but that is a very long charge for the Leviathan as the World Eaters Tactical Support Squad disembarked the rear of the vehicle. That is a long charge. Let's see if he can make it. The other Leviathan has done very well. With its Graviton, Flux, Bombard and its Storm Cannon, it gunned down the Praetor, the Apothecary and the last Tactical Marine. That is worth a lot of points. 3 for the Praetor, 2 for the Apothecary and 1 for the Tactical Squad. That is a very satisfying result, but what is very disappointing is once again Angron is still standing. The Derrideo opened fire, managing to inflict a couple of wounds with its missile launcher, but Angron made both of his invulnerable saves. Then it opened fire with the plasma cannonade and managed to inflict 2 unsaved wounds on the Primarch. Then the Typhon opened fire but missed with its Dreadhammer cannon and both of its las cannon. Angron is still standing thanks to It Will Not Die and consistently excellent saving throws made throughout the entire battle. Very disappointing for the Loyalists, but they have racked up quite a few more points this turn. Let's see if they can get any more going into Loyalists Assault Phase turn 4. End of Loyalist Assault Phase turn 4, and the Leviathan Siege Dreadnought failed to make its difficult charge into the Tactical Support Squad, which was disappointing for the Loyalists, and even more disappointing, the World Eater's Contemptor managed to finish off the Iron Warrior's Contemptor with his Power Fist. That's another 2 points for the Traitors. And although Extermination is supposed to go on for 6 turns, we have run out of time at the end of game turn 4, but we think the victory point score is sufficient to declare a strong winner. The final score is, taking into account that both sides have achieved line breaker, 22 points to the Loyalists, 48 to the Traitors. It is a crushing victory for the forces of the War Master, and an example has been set. If you question the word of your Primarch or of Horus Lupercal, you will be destroyed. This has been a very fun game. We love 30k here. We love the background and we love the mechanics of the game. This has been tactically very interesting as well. Both sides, the Traitors and the Loyalists, loaded up opposite flanks, and consequently there are quite a few Loyalists left down this end of the battlefield and a lot of Traitors down this end. But the carnage has been cataclysmic. We have lost many tanks, including Lords of War. We have lost countless World Eaters. As usual, Angron threw them heedlessly against the Iron Warriors' defences. He pays very little heed to the lives of his sons. And Warsmith Torin Krau fell under the axes of the Red Angel. Was it a mistake for him to lead all of his Cataphracti Terminators against Angron? Well, Angron was very lucky with his saves. We know how much damage he can put out, but he certainly made a statistically unlikely number of saves, so the Iron Warriors can rightfully feel a little aggrieved that they did not take out a Primarch in this battle. It has been a great game. We cannot wait to do more Horus Heresy 30k battle reports. Thanks very much for watching. Please subscribe to our channel and we will keep producing as many Warhammer 40,000 and Horus Heresy battle reports as we can. See ya!